That's yellow paint. When was this yellow? I think there's something a little weird going on in here that I want to show everybody. Let me just set the camera down here. So I mean, I just run it just in some of the degreaser there. That's yellow paint. I built this. I do not remember it ever being yellow. I hate yellow. I'm kind of just in a little state of shock here. I mean, you can see it's only been in there 24 hours. The paint's come off pretty good. It's definitely the new Monkees Mustang because it was molded in white. I remember that much. But yellow. My God, what was I thinking? I painted it yellow. The stripping process is going good. Actually, let's flip this over so I can get some of that paint off of the B-pillar. We'll put everything back in there. And we'll just let it soak up here for a little while. Yellow. I can't believe that. Yeesh. Okay, we have the paint off of the body. I went ahead and took the front clip off too so I can re-glue that, sand that, get that nice and smooth. The paint came off just fine, but man, was it thick. I actually found 5.0 badges on the fenders molded in there. I mean, they were completely covered up. So that's what, a millimeter maybe? A millimeter of paint on the outside of this thing. Just insane. And, you know, I still don't remember painting it yellow, but I do remember having a yellow and black Mustang. So this must have been it. And at some point, I decided to repaint it a little less gaudy color. But yeah, that led to just a crazy amount of paint on the outside. So that's all done. That's all off. Now that brings us to the three major repairs that have to be done here. The A-pillar, the frame, and the hood. Now, I didn't record the A-pillar or the frame. Those were really straightforward. The A-pillar in particular, I had the original broken piece, so I didn't even need to fashion something new. I just had to sand down the spots where I needed it to glued it back into place, and then I got some filler in there, and I got it sanded down, hit it with some glue to give it a nice uniform finish on the outside. I think I have it smooth. I won't know for sure until I get paint on it. And I also reinforced the insides of the pillar with some sheet styrene. It's a little flexible, but it's going to add just some extra strength. Of course, when the windshield ultimately goes in, that's going to really give the strength that I need. And to make sure it looks uniform, this is a convertible. Those inner pillars will be visible. I put a piece of sheet styrene on the passenger side. I used more sheet styrene on the frame. Again, that was just sanding it down, sticking it into place. And I did size it up a little bit with the body, and it should fit just fine. I put some reinforcement in there as well. I think that's going to be just fine. I don't think that's going to have any issues regarding strength. It's not like I'm going to be jumping this thing off of a cliff, right? So might hit some people. It is a Mustang. You never know. But I think that front end will be just fine for the engine. And that brings us to the hood, and I am recording that because I'm going to try to do something special here, make a neat cowl hood out of this jangled mess that I created in my youth. So let's get on that. I will do the rest by hand. At least we have a symmetrical gash in the hood. guys. I want to stick something up through the hood. I don't necessarily want to cover it now. I said I'm kind of tempted to just leave it open and put a big old engine through the hood, but no, we're gonna do it up right here. I've got a little template here that I made of a little what'll basically be like a very mild cowl induction hood. You know, just a little power bulge, if you will. This one is a little short. I'm going to cut another one here in a moment. That's a little bit longer. My plan is to just glue the sucker on here. I'll use a little bit of filler, hopefully, to take care of any gaps. But as long as my cuts are fairly straight and true, once I glue that on there, it should stick down. There's just a very minor curve, and it's thin styrene. So the effect will hopefully be just a very mild little power bulge there on the hood. I think it's going to look okay, but I've never done it before. So we're going to find out.
Cue the music.
Well, that's nerve-wracking. Oh my god. But I think that's about as good as it's going to get. Okay, with a little final dab of glue, that has the mirrors in place. These mirrors, I don't think they were for a Fox Body Mustang, but I found them in my parts bin. They seemed to match up pretty good, so I went ahead, sanded them down, got them on there, and that's actually going to come out better than I was expecting. I'm really excited about that. I have the nose glued back into place. I'm not filling the seams up here for the nose. The real car, the real Fox bodies, that's actually visible on the car. So leaving that alone like that, all I did was I sanded it down smooth, so there's a nice smooth finish there. But I think that's going to look really good. The A-pillar, I did just brush some black paint on there, sanded it down to try to get an idea of whether or not I had that seam filled. And I think I do, but I'm not going to know that until the final paint. I did sand down the entire body. It just had so much residue from gallons of paint that I had on this thing. In the process, I sanded off the 5.0 badges. I wasn't going to. They were getting a little thin anyways, and I thought, well, if I try to brush paint those, that's going to be really tricky. So I just sanded them off completely. I'm going to cave. I'll buy some 5.0 decals. I think it's time to get the Mustang in the paint booth, get some paint on it. Less paint this time. Let's make it pretty. Montage music, let's go! Painting here with just Tester's oil-based enamel. Because I had so many layers of paint on here, I just wanted to stick with what was on there just for compatibility's sake. I don't want to run into any weird fisheye or anything like that through this paint job. And yes, I am using flat black for the primer here. I'm doing that for two reasons. One, I want this to be a darker shade of red, but I don't want it to be dark red. I know Testers, their dark red really is almost more of a maroon to me. I don't want to go that dark, so I'm going to spray this with flat black as my primer, and then I'm going to go over with just plain old regular Testers red. That should give me a slightly darker finish, what I'm looking for here. And then the bottom is going to be silver, just like it would be on the real car in the late 80s. And also, I'm using flat black because the A-pillars, the trim on the tops of the doors, the top of the windshield brace, the cowling there in front of the windshield, those are all black. So if I do this flat black now, in theory, I'll just have to mask over those areas when I do my top coat. And then a lot of my trim work will be done, provided I do a good masking job. So we'll see how that turns out shortly. All right, the painting is complete. Oh my gosh, I am so happy with the way this came out. The A-pillar, you cannot see any of the repair. It looks like it was solid from the beginning. And the black trim all around came out great. I'm going to have to do a little bit of touch-up by hand, but I was always planning to do that anyways. And the hood, wow. The seams, none of that shows through. It looks very, very subtle, just like I was hoping. I can't believe it came out this good. I am so happy all around. I still have to do my top coat. I'm going to do that after I put decals on, finish up all the other trim work, obviously. Of course, what's been several minutes for you has actually been a few weeks for me. This wasn't without some difficulty, but while the paint has been setting up drying, I've been working on the chassis, the interior, the engine, and that's what you're going to see coming up in the next video. Thanks for watching.